Mics are on.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call the Kitty Hawk Town Council meeting to order. It is Monday, August 4th, 2025. We are in the Smith Meeting Room, almost 6 o'clock by that clock there. Thank you all for being here tonight, those of you who are here and those who are at home. We've got a packed house. Maybe a long night. We'll see how things go, but we'll be here till we get business taken care of. Again, thank you. If you're able to, please stand and join us in a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. That was great. Thank you. Before we go any further, I'd like to recognize and introduce our guest attorney tonight, Mr. Starkey Sharpers, a member of the Kitty Hawk family, has been here many times. It's always good to see you, sir, and you're welcome back anytime.
Good to see each of you.
Yes, sir.
Glad to be here. Casey's doing okay, but he had something that that took him away here. So I'm going to stand in again. I always like joining you.
Good. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Council, I need a motion to approve tonight's agenda, please.
So moved, Mr. Mayor.
Motion made by Jeff, second.
Second.
Second by Charlotte. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed. Thank you. Okay, we've got a number of presentations here tonight. The first one is Dementia Friendly Coalition for use of the former Kitty Hawk Police Department building. I think Ms. Jan Collins is coming up. And ask that you speak directly into the microphone so we can be sure to pick you up, ma'am.
Thank you, Mayor and Town Council members, for the opportunity to speak this evening. I am Jan Collins, President of the Dementia Friendly Coalition. I'm going to read our inquiry proposal that you were all given last week. The Outer Banks Dementia Friendly Coalition is a public, nonprofit charity dedicated to supporting caregivers and individuals with dementia. Our mission is to educate, advocate, and build a more inclusive and compassionate community for those affected by memory loss. Today, nearly 7 million Americans are living with Alzheimer's, a progressive, mind-altering condition with no known cure. This year, an estimated 900,000 people will develop this disease, which means likely to affect individuals we know, including our friends and our loved ones. The need for a community-based support and education has never been greater. You may have seen our purple seahorse on the doors of local businesses and restaurants. This symbol indicates that employees have completed our dementia-friendly certification program, which trains them to understand the unique needs of customers with memory loss, memory issues, and how to provide a more supportive experience to all. Through those efforts of dedicated volunteers, the DFC has provided dementia awareness and response training to restaurant staff, bank and pharmacy employees, police, EMS, and public safety works, visitor center and hospitality teams, veterinarians to be alert for signs of confusion in pet owners. This training empowers caregivers to confidentially take their loved ones into the community without fear of misunderstanding or embarrassment. It also ensures that our public-facing workers are prepared to respond with empathy and care. We currently operate 2 day-out programs, which meet twice a week for 3.5 hours. Each session serves 9 to 12 individuals with dementia, offering them a safe, engaging environment for social interaction. In total, we serve approximately 60 participant visits per month. These structured gatherings not only bring joy to our participants, but they also provide caregivers with a much-needed and deeply appreciated break. In addition, we host a monthly caregiver support group on the second Wednesday of each month from 2:30 to 4 at the Baum Center. These meetings typically draw 4 to 9 caregivers, creating a trusted space for sharing, encouragement, and connection. It is often the only time caregivers can truly speak openly about their experience and gain strength from others who understand. The Outer Banks is also home to North Carolina's dementia-friendly hospital, where trained volunteers are dispatched to stay with memory-impaired patients, giving caregivers a reprieve and ensuring patient safety. Our Outer Banks Hospital has even helped train other hospitals across the state. We also partner with Officer Julie Panner of the Kill Devils Police Department, who leads Project Lifesaver, a 24-hour locator service for individuals with dementia who may wander. Visitors with Project Lifesaver transponders can register locally and continue coverage during their stay here on the Outer Banks. We have equipped Manio and Kill Devil Hill libraries with backpacks that can be checked out by families caring for loved ones. We do quarterly seminars to educate the community on care of the aspects of the disease. The need for a permanent home. While we are proud of all we have accomplished, the biggest barrier to expanding our reach is clear. We need a home. We need a permanent, accessible location where caregivers in crisis can find us and get immediate support, where our day out program can safely operate and store materials, where volunteers and staff can coordinate services and outreach. Our seahorse logo can shine as a welcoming sign of hope, visibility, and belonging in the Outer Banks community. This is why we're proposing that a former Kitty Hawk police station become the new headquarters for our dementia-friendly coalition. The building layout is well suited for our needs. With the front partition removed, the large meeting room would become an open area approximately 25 by 35, ideal for group activities and gatherings. Just imagine a movie night or a spaghetti dinner night for caregivers with their loved ones. We understand there would be a cost associated with removing the partition, but this modest improvement would significantly enhance the functionality of the space. The building also includes multiple office rooms, a functional kitchen, storage area, and 2 bathrooms, offering both privacy and accessibility to those we serve. While the property lies in a flood zone, we understand the town currently maintains flood, wind, and hail insurance, and that occupancy may help lower those costs. We are also exploring cost-sharing partnerships with other nonprofits and local town councils to support the building's ongoing use. A win-win for Kitty Hawk. This proposal is more than a real estate request. It is an invitation to reaffirm Kitty Hawk's commitment as a family-centered, inclusive community. By offering the former police station as our home base, you would be helping hundreds of caregivers and loved ones access critical services in a welcoming environment right here in this neighborhood. Imagine Spring Arbor and Peak Resources bringing their memory care residents for a joyful day out. Imagine a caregiver walking in, overwhelmed, and finally finding support. Imagine a new generation growing up in a community that embraces compassion and care. On behalf of the Outer Banks Dementia Friendly Coalition, thank you for considering this inquiry slant proposal. We believe this partnership has the potential to make Kitty Hawk a model town in how it supports its aging residents and the caregivers who walk beside them every day. We're grateful for your consideration, and hopefully that together we can build a stronger, more compassionate community for all who call Kitty Hawk home. And I just want to say thank you to all the people who came in tonight to help support what we're trying, this initiative. Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Collins. Great presentation.
Thank you.
As you know, Ms. Collins and those in the audience, this is on our agenda for later tonight to toss around and discuss ideas for the police station. So we would definitely take this into consideration. Council, any questions for Ms. Collins while she's here? Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Good job. Beach Nourishment, Mr. Adam Priest. Good to see you again, sir.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, Council. Good evening, everyone. Good evening again, Council and Mayor. My name is Adam Priest. I'm a coastal engineer with Coastal Protection Engineering out of Wilmington, North Carolina, and we are the engineer for the Tempest project and the other 3 projects in the Outer Banks. So tonight I'm going to talk to you about 3 optional items or tasks that were included in the proposal that we provided the town back in July. Now, these optional items, I'm going to provide you some more information to kind of give you a better understanding of what those optional items are. Before we do that, I wanted to kind of go over some commonalities between the 2017-2022 project and this upcoming 27 project. So there's some commonalities and some differences. So first of all, the extent of the projects are going to be the same. There's no change. It'll be the entire town. We use the same bar area that we've used for the last 2 projects, and we're also looking at adding some additional bar areas. Fill density may increase for some towns if they choose to look at going to a 7-year maintenance interval. The time of year will be the same, so typically we permit these projects for the entire year, but dredgers kind of target the May to September because of the weather here. It's just easier to work offshore here in the Outer Banks in the summertime. We expect the fill volume to be the same or close to the same for this upcoming project within the range of the past 2 projects. In the 2022 project, we did do some dune repairs to the Kitty Hawk project. We didn't construct dunes in 2017, we built a starter dune. But as you all know, if you've been out to the beach, that starter dune has grown into a well-looking dune, a fully vegetated, robust dune. One thing different about this project is the inclusion of a potential storm berm, which is the 3rd optional item that I'll talk about tonight. So just to refamiliarize yourself, this slide just shows the overall project area. On the bottom there, you can see the project areas. That red dashed line, that's the line separating state waters and federal waters. That's 3 miles out, 3 miles offshore. In the upper right-hand corner, that red polygon, that's bar area A. That's where the sand has come from for the last 2 projects. Now, from the regional sand source investigation we've been doing over the past 2 years, those polygons that are outlined in white, those would be additional areas. We did find some areas, and I'll go over those D6 and D7 that expand bar area A. They're connected to it, but they add volume to it. And then those other bar areas, they're actually closer to some of the projects, which would reduce some of the costs for the 2027 project. The dredges have to go so far offshore to get it. And if you look in the far left, there's another bar area that we're looking to permit. That one's closer to Duck. So the same thing, they would be closer. They wouldn't have to get sand all the way from off of Kill Double Hills. They would have some sand closer to them. So the first of the 2 of the 3 optional items are in task 2. So the bar area permitting. Back in 2021, there were some concerns by the DCM. So these tasks that you see here were the same tasks that were performed in 2021 to evaluate the bar area. So really these 2 optional tasks are in case the DCM has concerns again, that you will have these optional items. If the board approves these optional items, we won't actually implement them unless the DCM comes back and says they have some concerns. We don't know that they will, but rather than submitting a new proposal with these at their request, we decided to include them for your consideration. So again, if you do approve them, we won't do them unless the DCM comes back and says we have some concerns about material in the bar area. So going on to that, so this slide shows on the left is a bathymetric survey of bar area in 2021. So we did this survey, and on the right is a comparison of the post-construction survey from 2017 and the 2021. So basically those red and blue areas you see, the red areas are places where the elevation in the bar area dropped, so that they lost elevation. The blue areas that you see there are basically depressions that filled in, so those elevations rose. The DCM had concerns that those depressions had filled in with potentially incompatible material. So they thought that if we dredged here again, we'd put material that wasn't good for the beach. So they asked for us to do an additional evaluation to look at the material that filled in those areas. So on the left-hand side here, after the survey, the DCM asked, we went out and grabbed samples from the surface, and then we also did vibrators, basically going down into the shoals and collecting sand samples. We analyzed those sand samples just like one of the tasks, the optional tasks. It showed all sand. But one of the other concerns were that, this stuff, was infilling, and we're like, it doesn't look like that. So on the right-hand side, you'll see basically that there's two graphs, one's from 2017 and one's from 2021. That yellowish area that's in the upper left, or kind of left and up, that's the higher area of the shoal. So in 2017, you can see it was a little bit further northwest, and in 2021 it had expanded. Well, that cross section on the bottom, the green line, you can see that's from 2017. You can see where the shoal stopped. But then 4 years later, you can see kind of how that shoal had moved and progressed. So what we were seeing wasn't actually infilling. So those depressions weren't getting filled with material. The shoals were actually moving. So all those shoals complex had moved somewhat over the 4 years to the southeast. So we provided the DCM with the data. They were okay with that, and we were able to permit bar area A. So these items that we're asking for optional, in case those DCM has those same concerns, we can go ahead and move forward and get that additional data to provide to them. But if they don't have the concerns, if they're satisfied with what we did last time, we won't need to move forward with them. So again, just to kind of reiterate that the task A is the survey and actually collecting of the sand samples, but we won't analyze them. We'll have them in case the DCM says anything. If they do have concerns, if needed, then those two optional items, 2B and 2C, which are to analyze the sand samples and go and collect the vibrocores, that would be additional. But if, like I said before, reiterate, if you approve it, we won't do anything unless the DCM says that they would like additional information. So those are the first two. The third one is task 3, engineering and design. So this is a Kitty Hawk only task because the other towns, they have good dune systems, and we have built engineered dunes for those projects. But in Kitty Hawk, remember in 2017, there were some space constraints and budget constraints. So the idea we came up, we didn't want to just build a berm and not build a dune, because you could see, if you drove down Highway 12, you could look underneath the houses and see the ocean. So we came up with this idea of a starter dune. Basically a baby dune, we pushed up a mound along the entire project. And since 2017, as you guys know, that dune has grown significantly. It's vegetated, it looks great now, and that was a big deal. So, all right. Yeah, so in 2017, we couldn't do the full dune, and it's grown naturally, so we don't have to do this optional item. So this is, in case the town would like to basically reevaluate how the beach is now. So in 2021, we did this same analysis. We compared how the beach, how the conditions were in 2021 compared to 2014. And this would be basically updating that analysis to see, now that the dune has grown even more since 2025, we can reevaluate the dune, see if there's even more protection now. And then if the town wanted, we could look at some different design dunes, some scenarios that I'll talk about more that would add even more protection. So I just want to walk through some kind of photos, just take you back in time a little bit. So this is from 2014. It's, I think the area, it's near Bennett Street. But as you can see this house, and you can see the Kitty Hawk Pier in the background there, but there were no dunes. If you all have been here for a while, this probably looks very familiar to you. But at this time in 2014, no dunes along the area. Again, a little bit further south, Black Pelican, as the pelicans perched there on the right, but this area of Highway 12 was undermined due to erosion. There were no dunes there. This is back in 2015. So that was an issue. And then a little bit further south here, this is probably a photo that everybody that's been here a while can remember, driving along Highway 12 and being able to just see the ocean right just past these houses. So that's kind of where we were in the past. Now, in 2017, as I mentioned, the starter dune, this is actually the construction of the starter dune. This is basically just a beach push. There was no design to it. There was no crest width or anything. It was just a mound of sand that would create a speed bump for any sand being blown along to trap it there. And then the sand fence was added in vegetation, but this is just kind of what it looked like, kind of making the sausage. When it was all done, this was a picture of the starter dune on the left-hand side. So I'm standing there. It's maybe shoulder head high at the time, which if you had been to Kill Devil Hills or Duck and seen the dunes that were constructed, this is a lot smaller. But we had this idea. We wanted to put something there that could grow and at least provide a little protection during high water. But since then, we've seen a dramatic expanse. So this is from the same photo or the same viewpoint as where the road I just showed you was eroded and undermined. So this dune now, I'm sure if you guys drive down Highway 12, and this is a very high dune now. And there's a lot of sand there that was not there 9 years ago. This is in 2022, and it looks even better now. This is from the air. So this is a drone shot from this past June. This is that same section where Highway 12 was eroded out. And now there's a vegetated, large dune sitting there. And that all started with the starter dune and sand fence and vegetation. And we've seen just that big increase with these projects kind of adding sand, the dune catching and just naturally building up on its own. So this is that photo again, but I want to show you this is the before and this is the after. So that red arrow is pointing to the same point on that window. But I took this afternoon when I got here before the meeting, and just to kind of show you the stark difference between 2014 and now 2025, 9 years later, 2 beach nourishment projects. And as you can see on the right there, sand fence is buried. There's probably another section of sand fence below that's buried. So it's been really successful. Similar, I showed this photo earlier. I took this today, and now as you can see, that dune is built up. It's in front of that house and providing that protection. No longer can you see the ocean there, or when there was high water, there was water coming underneath these houses. That's not the case anymore. I walked around to the beach access so I can kind of see the front and show you a different perspective. And really, here's the same thing. You're looking at a beautiful vegetated natural dune that just started with a mound of sand and has grown naturally over time with the help of sand fence and vegetation. So this profile plot here really shows at this one section in Kitty Hawk. So the shaded yellow was the starter dune. So that was what was constructed in 2017. The orange shaded area, that black line, that's the 2020 profile. So 3 years following the construction of the project. You can see just how much in those 3 years, how much the dune has grown. And this really kind of gave us this was the catalyst to kind of look and reevaluate how much storm protection that starter dune was providing. So in 2021, we did an analysis, a lot like we're proposing today, is that basically in 2014, we evaluated and showed the number of structures that were vulnerable to a storm similar to Hurricane Isabel. So in 2021, we did that same analysis for the 2020 conditions and compared them. And what we saw was a 44% reduction in the number of structures that were considered vulnerable. So from 2014 to 2020, we had a 2017 project and the starter dune, but just with that starter dune and the beach project, there was a reduction of 44%. So in addition to that analysis, in addition to reevaluating the conditions in 2020, we looked at several different scenarios. So there are several different design dunes. One was building a dune up to elevation plus 15. One was building up to plus 18. So we looked at kind of a medium size and a large size, both 20-foot wide crest and a 1-on-5 slope. And we wanted to see how that would impact, in addition to the current conditions, but adding that dune to the 2020 conditions. And we did see some additional decreases, 23% with the 15-foot elevation dune and up to 66%. But at 66%, we dropped it, decreased it by 66%, but it was almost $1.4 million for the dune. And this is along the entire town. So this would have been building a dune along the entire town of Kitty Hawk. That price tag was pretty steep, so we looked at some additional scenarios. Instead of along the entire town, we looked at just sections where there was a high density of vulnerable structures. So looking at those 70 where they were and trying to build dunes to see if we could reduce the number of structures that are impacted. And we did. We saw a 56% increase, and we looked at 2 sections, one about a 7,000-foot section north of Wilkins Street, and another 2,000-foot section between Kitty Hawk Road and the point of White Avenue. One of the other things we did in this analysis, the resource agencies came back and said that they wanted us to steepen the dune. So there were some concerns that sea turtles, with the dune that we were proposing, the 1-on-5, the sea turtles wouldn't know the difference between the beach berm and the dune, that it was too flat. So they wanted to steepen up the dune so that the turtles would know, hey, we're going up, we probably need to turn around and stay on the beach. In order to do that, though, we wanted to keep the volume similar to be able to compare the different scenarios apples to apples, so we made it a little bit wider. We did see some 46% decrease. Both of those scenarios were roughly $820,000. So this really provides just kind of a breakdown of that analysis that was done before the last project, before the 2022 project. It shows the different alternatives, but ultimately what ended up being constructed there on the last row, obviously sand fencing was involved, but then there were repairs to 2 sections of dune. The 800-foot sections, I think it was the Sea Dune townhomes there, and then another 450-foot section right at the border with Kitty Hawk and Kill Double Hills. So we just did those 2 sections. You know, the cost was $291,000, but that repaired some dunes in areas where they were low, and then added the sand fencing along the entire area. So that was the analysis done then. That's exactly what we're proposing now for this project. It's not required, the town doesn't have to do it, but it would basically reevaluate where we're at now, and then look at, are there ways that we could either provide more protection along the entire town, or look at sections maybe that aren't performing as well and provide some additional protection there. But one thing that we don't want to do, so this is a recent photo, and I wanted to show the vegetation of the dunes. When you go out there, the last thing you want to do is disturb the dunes and disturb the vegetation that's helped these dunes grow. It's important. You know, the vegetation catches the sand fence, you know, it deteriorates over a while, but the vegetation can keep up with the sand and help grow. So these 2 photos here just show a healthy dune and healthy vegetation. So if we do look at, if you do approve this option and we look at, you know, doing some different scenarios, we don't want to cover what's out there. We want to basically work with it, complement it, but basically allow the dune to continue to grow on its own without being disturbed, without messing up the vegetation. So I showed you this slide earlier. It shows the growth from 2017 to 2020. So this is an updated profile. So what you're now seeing is the growth. This is the same location, but instead of from 17 to 2020, now we're going from 17 to 2025. And you can see that additional growth from there to there, you know, over the course of these projects. And again, no sand was placed in the dune as part of these projects. Other than that starter dune, what you see there shaded in yellow, all of that other sand has built up naturally over time. And this is what we saw in 2021, that buildup. And so we thought that we'd include the same analysis we did to reevaluate the current conditions and then look and see if we could add any more protection. So if you guys have been involved with these beach nurse projects, you've seen these slides before. This is actually looking at a time period, so it's at the end of the maintenance interval. So in 2017, we built the project. The end of the maintenance interval was 2021, right before the next project. So by that time, we expect the advanced fill that we place that is supposed to erode over that time period, that's gone. All we're left with is the design beach and the starter dune. And as we've seen, the starter dune has grown, so as of 2021. So the next project in 2027, we have the option, or the town has the option of just doing the advanced fill. Basically rebuilding the berm out, like last time, maybe repairing some dunes, not building anything new, but repairing some, and then adding that advanced fill for the next nourishment interval. Or we could do this analysis, and one thing we're proposing is what's called a storm berm. So I like to give the analogy that, you know, your beach is like your checking account. So there's daily transactions, the waves come, they take some, they bring some, but that's day-to-day currents and tides. What you're doing is more like your savings account. So in case there's an emergency, your checking account gets empty, you've got that savings account, that cushion there. Well, the storm berm is, and I couldn't quite think of the analogy, like what it would be in terms of finance, but what it does, it provides additional storm protection because it's a higher elevation, so it would prevent high water events from coming. But what it also does, it provides a source of sand for the dune to continue to grow over time. This is a long-term feature, so we expect it to be there, and we don't want to cover the vegetation, but as conditions change through here, that storm berm will feed the dune while also providing additional storm protection. It would go in front of the dune. It wouldn't come up. It wouldn't cover the beach. We wouldn't put vegetation or sand fence on it. This would just be like a step to raise the elevation to keep that high water from kind of coming to the accesses or even eroding the toe of the dune. And then also, we're not burying the vegetation. We want this, so this would be additional volume of sand that could help grow the dune more over time. Any questions? That was kind of fast.
Any questions?
I have a couple if you're finished.
Just have the last slide. So I just wanted to provide the schedule. So this is just kind of in the beginning. We're in the early stages, the project initiation, the bar area development. But the key time frame on there is that August 2026. So that's important to be able to put the solicitation out to the dredgers to give them enough time to get this on the schedule. And we've seen in past projects that the earlier we can get that to them, the better prices we can get, because their calendars fill up quick. And if we give it to them too late, they're already booked up. It's either gonna cost a lot more or we have to postpone the project. So that's the big one, that's the big date we're trying to hit right there. But yeah, other than that, take any questions.
Thanks, sir. Dave?
So the original bar pit that we had, that had a shelf life on it, correct? I mean, we couldn't just keep pulling from it forever and ever and
You're correct.
ever.
I failed to mention there, the last survey we did, there was about 10 million, a little over 10 million cubic yards left in bar area A.
Right. And so these new areas that you found, they weren't there before? Mother Nature's created them? I mean, why did we not use them before if they were there and go
So-
further to save the town money at that time?
Yeah, so there is, so we basically, the bar area A and bar area C were the low-hanging fruit. They were the largest areas, had the best material, or, you know, the comparable material, and provided the easiest access. You know, dredgers want long, straight areas that they can just go, they don't have to do a lot of turns. But obviously, we did a more in-depth, this regional sand source investigation. We looked at a lot of areas, and we found these additional shoals. Part of it too is the collection of the VibraCore data, so there's certain spacings. And we were able to expand that spacing for the regional sand source investigation that's been going on for 2 years. Able to look at some other places in higher detail than we were before.
So that 10 million, does that split between the Kill Devil Hills, Kitty Hawk line, or is that all going to Kitty Hawk? Or how does that?
No, that 10 million that's in there now would primarily be for, I think in 2027, because we found another bar area closer to Duck, that the majority of that sand would be for the Southern Shores, Kill Devil Hills, Kitty Hawk, but bar area A was used for Duck as well. So maybe they would use bar area for a portion, and then they would use E1, which is the northern bar area, just like they did in 2017 with bar area C.
This may not be a well-received statement, but with Southern Shores being a private beach, I mean, you're saying they have they have their own sand that they're pulling from their property line over, or is it coming from the original?
Yeah, it's coming from the original one. Yeah, once you go in the water,
I understand federal, state lines and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand.
now there are some differences between the sand in Southern Shores, the grain size versus the other
That's
ones.
kind of where I was going with it too.
Yeah. So in 2022, there was an area of bar area A that had a more coarse, a larger grain size that was more applicable to Southern Shores Beach. So that was kind of set aside for them because it was larger, kind of fit their beach better. Kitty Hawk, Kill Devil Hills, and Duck, slightly smaller grain size. So there was an area of bar area A for Southern Shores because their sand is a little bit larger.
Because that mixture is, I mean, when it mixes like that, it's not normal, right? I mean, even under Mother Nature time, so where storms.
I mean, it's, I don't know, I would say it's probably more unique to the Outer Banks because of the wave energy you have here and, you know, subtle differences and changing the coast. I mean, when I saw it initially back in 2017 or earlier when we were doing, I was surprised at the variation along the coast. But there is a definite difference. I mean, I know just even near shore up in Duck, you know, larger, you know, cobble size, you know, gravel up there, which you don't see further south here. And certainly even in Currituck County, we survey up there as well, and those beaches are different as well. It's kind of unique to have, you know, this area be one long beach, but have such differences in the grain size.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, David. Dylan?
No questions.
Jim?
So let me get this correct. The supplemental, the VibraCores, the 10,507,
Yes, sir.
that is an optional to the town, is that what you're saying?
Yes, sir. And the reason I included that cost in there is we were still waiting for some quotes when we submitted the proposal to the town, and we got the quotes back. So that was a cost that Leon didn't have. We provided it to her last week.
Okay.
But that would be an option that if approved, we would only implement that option if the Department of Coastal Management said, hey, we're concerned that there are some issues out in the bar area again.
Right.
We don't know that they're gonna do that. We felt like, well, I mean, we addressed those concerns last time and they permitted the bar area. I would be surprised if they had the same concerns again, but rather than have to come provide a new proposal, we figured we'd add them as options and then would be approved.
Very similar to the trawling that we did.
Yes, sir.
We had the option to not go in, but run a risk of delays if they did, and so we went ahead with the trawling to make sure that we didn't have the delays. It's very,
It's a little bit different, but yes, sir. Yeah, we're
Very
providing these in
Okay.
case something changes between now and then.
and the starter dune, is that an additional cost to the town?
The starter dune is already there. The design analysis.
The protective dune,
So we would do the same thing we did in 2021. We would look at these different scenarios, and then we would provide them to the town to consider. So in 2021, we provided them all, and the town decided not to go with any of them, and
Right.
just repair two sections and do the sand fencing. So we would do the same thing. We would show you the breakdown of, okay, it increased your protection, by this much. If we did this, if we did a dune along the entire town, or if we did the storm berm, in a 2,000-foot section here to protect, these vulnerable structures and a 3,000-foot. We would give you all that information, and it would be the town's decision then whether a
Okay.
go or no go.
and that's a cost on the town, solely on the town. That wouldn't be divided in the beach nourishment total
That's-
project,
that's
correct? Okay. And so so what you're saying is you're going to submit us with the areas or what you think it's needed, and then we make a decision whether, and you're going to provide us with the cost analysis of that
Yes, sir.
also?
Just like what this shows.
Right,
We would show you what we analyzed and what we looked at, and then just like in the scenarios we looked at, the board at that time, they said, well, we want to do something different.
right.
And that's
Okay.
what we would do.
Okay, thank you. I have no more
Thank you, Jeff. Good question, Shaw.
The timing of your project is awful. I really have a real problem with interrupting our guests. But, I guess if that's the only thing you can do.
Yeah, it comes down to a lot of it. Well, safety is one thing. It's typically these projects are done in the wintertime because of the environmental window for turtle nesting. And the state is very serious about that. We provide a lot of information to them before the 2017 project to get the summertime dredging. It was not something that they did lightly. And, but as you know, from the Outer Banks in the wintertime, trying to work offshore is problematic at best. So we try to minimize the disturbances as much as possible, but yeah, it is a disturbance for sure.
So I have another comment to make. There's certain areas of Kitty Hawk, like I'll use the Black Pelican area as an example. That's a real tricky erosion section there. When you do your analysis, would you come in and say, as an example, like, we recommend that you do, I don't know, a more volume of sand in this area, but less over here?
Yep.
Could it be different the whole way down?
Yeah, we would separate it into, so the design for Kitty Hawk, go down to this one here. So the design for Kitty Hawk, to provide the protection, originally calculated, there's a 60-foot berm width. So that right now is part of the town's design, 60-foot wide berm. Now, during construction, we widen that berm even further with the advanced fill. That fill is the sacrificial sand that erodes over the 5 years between projects. So what we could do, we look at rebuilding that design berm, but then if there are areas like there at the Black Pelican that needed some additional sand, we could look at doing the storm berm there in front of their dune. So we would keep the design berm the same, but we'd add that additional protection on top of it.
Well, I mean, there's certainly there's areas that, I've driven up and down the beach many times on, from one end to the next, and just like anywhere else, there's certainly hot spots,
There are.
right? So there's no question that it's working, but what have we done in the past? And you don't have to get into it tonight, but I'd like to know the data on what we've
Sure.
done before compared to what we're doing next, as far as those hotspots.
Yeah. So one of the things we looked at is, adjusting the configuration. So we had some additional sand, placing some additional sand in those hotspot areas. And the reason they're hotspot areas is because the depths are
Right.
deeper closer to shore.
Sure.
There are these old paleo channels that are there that allow the waves to get in closer to shore there. But yeah, we could look at, we've set up a model for the 2022 project, a numerical model, that we can model the currents and the waves, and it kind of gives us an idea of how different configurations perform. And through that, we can, tailor it to.
It's interesting because, it's like guys like Jeff and I've surfed all while I was here, sandbars come and go, but there's ocean, the ocean floor has things that keep it the same.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the information I'd like to know moving forward on certain areas that we may want to pay special attention to versus some lesser of the hotspot areas.
Oh, yeah. No, we definitely, and I can certainly get that. In the reports, we talk about the hotspot areas. We surveyed it this past June. We did a multi-beam. So basically what they are is, the relic inlets that came through. And you're right, the geology for those areas, they hold the same
Right.
regardless. And so they do change the dynamics in those areas which create the hotspots. And we take that into consideration when we do the designs.
Good deal.
But we can definitely show you, what we've looked at and how we've tried to adapt to make sure we.
Well, I think where I'm going with is some people, are really against beach nourishment now that you see that it works. I think people are more happy to spend the money. Nothing's guaranteed, but it's easier to spend somebody's tax dollars on an area that we feel confident would work. So we're not just opening up the
Doesn't look like
briefcase
you're
of
just
money with a
throwing sand
convertible.
out there for the sake of throwing sand out there.
Right.
And there's reasons that will be detailed in the engineering report for everything that's done.
Sure.
I think there has been extra sand added in that hot spot, right, that we're talking about at the Black Pelican in the last,
In the last project.
The last.
I believe so. I can't remember the details.
yeah, I believe
exactly.
that there was an area that didn't need as much, and so they shifted it and used it for that particular area.
And we
And
did
so-
the same thing for the town of Duck. We had
Right.
high losses, so we try to look at each project separately and evaluate how can we make it more efficient? How can we make it, the sand last longer? If we put it, if we're Duck, we put the extra sand in the center, does that hold longer? If we put it at the south end, does that hold longer? We do the same thing for all the towns. Kitty Hawk is unique because of those hotspot areas. You don't have those in Southern Shores or Duck. Kill Devil Hills has,
Couple.
as well, but Kitty Hawk really has those areas. And we try, and what we say adaptive management, try to make sure when we're thinking about the design, we're taking into account those areas and how they have a higher erosion rate than others.
I don't get hung up on it tonight. I'd love to pick your brain some other time outside of here, because there's a bend right there that heads towards Southern Shores, and I wonder if that's what helps create Kitty Hawk to get pulled on harder.
I don't know. We could definitely provide you, we got the bathymetry
We
surveys.
talk
for
about that
everything.
for some other time, but
Yeah, I'd be more than happy to.
thank you.
Anything else, Council? Mr. Priest? Thank you, sir. A great presentation. I guess we'll just wait and hear from you on your cost analysis, and council will come together and have a discussion, see what needs to be done.
So we have consensus to move
Yes.
forward with the cost
Yes.
analysis?
Everybody good?
All right, thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Priest.
Thank you.
We need to vote on
Good job, sir.
Thank you.
Recreation Committee update. Good to hear from the Recreation Committee.
They're shy, they don't like to come out too often.
Charlotte, thanks for all your participation and hard work on the Recreation Committee. Y'all have done wonders, so
You're
thank you.
welcome. They really come together as a team.
Yep.
I'm very proud of it.
Good job.
That full thing. There you go.
Mr. Mayor, Town Council. My name is Paul Enriquez. I'm the current chairman of the Recreation Committee. I'm presenting on behalf of the other members, David Levitt, Peter Nance, and Ryan Thibodeau, the other members of the committee. Thank you for your time and allowing us to present.
Thank you.
So first off, we've created a trail, Town Hall Trail. It was just finished this spring, actually late spring, early summer. Took us a little longer than anticipated. So it's almost 3/4 of a mile that we have right now. We're calling phase 1. The trails are off on this side, over on that side, and we do have a connection on the other side through the power easement. We're looking next year, later this year, to do phase 3. Right now, currently, we have almost 3/4 of a mile of trail. Welcome all the folks here to go check it out on their time. The uses are hiking, mountain bikes, horses. Beautiful trail. The one trail goes out to Hobbs Creek. We've created an 80-foot bridgeway that connects over next to Hobbs Creek to another loop on the backside. We've also done a connection over on this side that laps back into a beautiful oak tree that looks back over Town Hall, which is absolutely beautiful. So I suggest everybody go check it out. The trail was created by the committee members, volunteers. Wesley, who was generous enough as Boy Scout, he got his Eagle Scout, he was Eagle Scout, by helping us build the bridgeway. Other members I'd like to thank. Tab was a member of the committee until he moved to another town and no longer with us. He was the integral part of the start of the trail. He spearheaded it until it was put on my lap. We got it done. Volunteers, so I'd like to thank some other volunteers. Jesse Davis helped out, Jeffrey Scott. I'd like to thank Kempsville Building Materials. They donated all the lumber, screws, and connections and anchors for all the bridgeways. So great thanks to Kempsville. They're a great partner for us in this. The town's expense, no labor cost, no lumber connection cost, volunteer labor. It was picnic tables, chairs, and tools, really. Everything else was done by all of us. So, great trail. We're looking to expand it, and we're excited about getting more use. As right now, when it's like it is now and hot, ticks and chiggers, a lot of folks don't want to go in the woods, but it'll get used a lot more as we get into the cooler months. So that's the trail update. We did, back in September of 2023, we did a community survey that we put out. And this is just some summary of some feedback on that survey. So as you can see, the top responders are primarily full-time residents of Kitty Hawk. Top recreational activities, beach or water activities. Number 1, hiking and or walking, visiting town parks, biking, running, and jogging. Top recreational facilities, beaches, multi-use path, parks. Kitty Hawk Woods Reserve, which has a lot of other trails that are accessible, also to be used. And then Soundside access. So this is a little bit, an idea of what folks are thinking about how we're doing recreation-wise. Very satisfied, 33%. Somewhat satisfied, 40%. I think we might be able to do a little better, but we're doing good. Very dissatisfied, very small, somewhat dissatisfied and neutral. So I think we're doing pretty good as far as the survey information. Facilities that need improvement: pedestrian paths and trails, Soundside access and parking, beach access parking, parks and playgrounds. And part of what we're trying to do committee-wise is pedestrian traffic, bicycle traffic. We're really trying to start to think of ways that we can improve that. So that's representative of where we need to go. Satisfaction with maintenance. Primarily, everybody's satisfied with the maintenance of the trails and all of the parks and everything. So that's good. It tells us we're doing, really in public works, we're doing great, everything up and running, clean. Desired additional activities: more walking and or biking access, more Soundside access, more access to beach and ocean, more family-friendly activities and pickleball courts. We do hear some folks coming to us about pickleball courts. So that is something that's somewhere on our radar also. So that's just a quick update on our survey. Like I said, that survey was done in September 2023. I think we're gonna probably think about doing another survey here coming up maybe next year, just to see how we're doing with the new trail and everything else. But I think that's great information for all of us to, and we use that information and have used that information on, you know, we are a sounding board for the committee, or for the community, and we like to take in the community's information and input and try to carve our path forward based on that. So we really pride ourselves on doing that. So other than that, a few other things that we're working on committee-wise. We're thrilled to find out that the town has been awarded the NCDOT multimodal planning grant. This planning grant will give us basically a pedestrian and bicycle study. So it'll give us a pedestrian study to study the town and see where the needs are. That we're doing, and we appreciate all your help in allowing us to do this. It's been really fantastic, and we hope it gets you.
Again, we very much what you're doing. This kind of, I know myself earlier when you the cost of the town, no cost.
Yeah.
That was volunteer work. We appreciate that, and that was wonderful.
Yeah.
I know it's
Yeah.
I know it started with a keg, whatever. Thank you, Paul. Paul, started with a keg, whatever. Thank you, Paul. Paul, would you come back up, please?
Can all of the
Who? Come on, Kip.
Come on over. So, we wanted to recognize the outstanding efforts of the Recreation Committee members and Councilwoman Walker for bringing this long envisioned plan to life. What people probably don't understand is, when Town Hall was originally built in the late 1980s, the concept of a trail surrounding the building was included in the initial, or maybe forgotten. In the recent years, our community has increasingly expressed a desire for more trails and recreational spaces. And I guess a couple years ago, whether it's a fortunate coincidence or divine intervention or something, the original site plan for Town Hall was put into my hands. And I was like, wow, this is a great idea. So I think I gave it to you.
Well, I will say, Paul had been pushing that. He had been pushing it, then you put that in my hands, and after that, there was
no stopping.
there was no stuff.
Good to have the right people in the right place. So their work has been nothing short of remarkable. All the volunteer hours, all the sweat equity, volunteers. I know Leslie's here tonight. And yeah. You can go up to.
Yes, Wesley, get up here.
So, y'all brought what was an original vision back to life, and I'm so proud of that. And it's a beautiful, accessible trail that enhances our town and provides new opportunities for outdoor recreation. And there's a beautiful, is it called a creek?
Yeah.
It's a creek.
Ditch.
Back there.
It's a creek.
I guess when the town hall floods, that's where the water comes. And I could not be more proud of the committee and everyone who supported this initiative. Wesley, Kempsville, Public Works, they helped a lot too. It's a wonderful addition. This is a small token of our appreciation, and you might say, what is this? But this is actually a tree plaque, and you wrap it around the tree, and it says, we are grateful to our Recreation Committee members, Paul Enriquez, Ryan Thibodeau, Peter Mance, David Klovitz, and Kip Tad, for their hard work in carrying out the town's original vision for the Kitty Hawk Town Hall Trail. a wonderful space for our community to enjoy. This is made out of military-grade stuff, so it's supposed
And that-
to...
It could explode.
It's supposed to last forever and ever. So y'all can pick your tree that you'd like to put this on, and we can do it for you, or y'all can have a ceremony and put it on your tree.
And by the way, that was not free.
And you have to pay for that.
It's coming up the recreation budget.
Thank you to everyone involved. Your dedication and teamwork has made a lasting difference in our community, and I can't wait to see what happens next. And I know it was hard, and thank you for pulling it out. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, yeah, good.
Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Pete, did you have something to?
Yes, sir, I do. So mayor, council, staff, ladies and gentlemen, I'll make this super quick because it's a packed agenda and a packed house tonight. So last year, and continuing with the Recreation Committee efforts and update, and this was at no cost to the town, or should be at no cost to the town, just a little vision forward of what we're looking at. So 2024 was a wonderful year for us, not only for the United States recognizing the year of the trail, North Carolina being a great trail state, Kitty Hawk making the trails, plus all the other trails we're working on to give those opportunities. So it was
Take your
also
time,
last year, as most of you know, was the 150th anniversary of the life-saving service, U.S. life-saving service in the Outer Banks with the original 1874 structures. And this body here graciously created a proclamation there. Thank you for that. And also we tried to present a plaque, or create a plaque for NCDOT so we could recognize U.S. life-saving service. Unfortunately, that didn't come through, but it got the committee thinking about some potentials for things other than trails and engaging the community and looking at our survey and taking what's interest to the people, and this became a multifaceted effort. The primary thrust is a life-saving memorial for Kitty Hawk and the people here. We've identified the bathhouse as a place to put this because that's the original compound next to Black Pelican where the life-saving station was. And it also allows us to build off existing structure. We've got the deck platform out there that allows to, with less expense, create more traditional, almost like a pergola event where you've got a sweeping landscape with the top not necessarily matching the 1874 structure, but as you look at it and you look to the side and see the Black Pelican, it'll pull out that whole heritage of life-saving service and the building that goes with it. In that, what we've got is a big platform with some benches that offer shade. That area is super exciting because it's a very busy area, especially this time of year. And even year-round, in the wintertime, a lot of people go there to access the beach. Probably one of the Kitty Hawk's most busiest areas. So talk about an opportunity where we can present some of this rich heritage of Kitty Hawk to not only tourists, but town folk as well, people from the Outer Banks, and a lot of people that just don't understand the history of the life-saving service and what's a big part of Kitty Hawk and what founded the Outer Banks as it is. So with that, we'll have educational panels that will go up, 8 or 9 of them probably, working with Access Designs and what they look like. They could be everything from the life-saving service to the Kitty Hawk life-saving service to the Wright Brothers engagement in the life-saving service with the weather station here, and what one of the main primary efforts that drew the Wright Brothers to come to the Outer Banks, not only the sand and the flat dunes, but because of also the weather observations, which they really needed. Plus, Postmaster General Tate, who responded back to the Wright Brothers letter saying, hey, is there enough wind there, and is Outer Banks a good place to go, or is Kitty Hawk a good place to go? And he was one of the few that responded back to the Wright Brothers that piqued their interest to come and look and bring the first flight here. So a myriad of things going on there, as well as women in the Outer Banks. and recognizing them and what they did. So the first Women's Relief, National Relief Association, where they came, and Kitty Hawk was a big part of that, when they came and helped the survivors of any shipwrecks. They provided food, clothing to anybody that was rescued until they could get to safety and so forth. So a whole lot going on there. We envisioned this in several steps to include not just the structure itself, but a possible statue of a surfman, a large-sized boat that you can take pictures in, or maybe kids could play in, a flagpole dedicated to the area, other kind of things to make the area more interactive and engaging, so to speak. So, having said that, that's one part. The second part, if you go to the next slide. The second part is, as I was just indicating, piecing it together. So I offer this as just a thought piece for you of all those folks that were involved with the life-saving service here in Kitty Hawk. So these were folks, just surfmen and keepers that we've recorded, plus all their families, and we've been doing a lot of research on their descendants as well, who could still be alive that had family that served back then. So those are some really exciting things that are coming about. So not just the structure itself, and if you go one more slide, please, but the next slide is, who are these folks, and who are the people that supported them? And that's what we really want to tease out in this memorial. Having said that, this led us to another thought as a recreation committee of not only this life-saving service, but how do you tease out other historical aspects as part of the rich heritage of Kitty Hawk, such as the schoolhouse and the post office and that sort of thing. So we've got some ideas of how we can go around and specifically place uniform monuments or placards in front of some of these locations and make it part of a walking tour, biking tour, that sort of thing as part of the GIS for Dare County. So lots of great ideas. This is a look forward to what we're working on. We'll submit an application in September, keeping it scaled under $50,000 ideally, so that'll require no matching funds from the town here. And so it sounds like they're pretty excited. We could probably use some help greasing the skids on that. But great opportunity to push some heritage forward. So any questions, I'll leave it at that.
Any questions for Pete? Okay. Thank you, Pete, very much.
Thank you.
Great job. Thank you. All right, folks, we're finally at public comment. Laura, has anyone signed up for public comment, please?
Yes, sir. Andy Keeney.
Come on up, sir. Please state your name and address and limit your comments to 3 minutes, please, sir. And we ask that you speak directly into the microphone so we can.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council, and Starkey. Starkey and I have known each other for decades. My wife and I have been residents of Kitty Hawk, 6008 Crow Truck Road for up to 30 years. I've been practicing law for over 40 years. I'm currently the president of the Currituck Dare Community Foundation, an affiliate of North Carolina Community Foundation. I'm also a member of the Kitty Hawk Rotary and the president-elect. We recently raised money to purchase a handicapped beach access wheelchair. We donated to the fire department, and there is now actually a waiting list for the use of this wheelchair. We were touched when we found that an acoustic child was celebrating his birthday. His parents said he had never been to the beach. And we were able to reserve time, and with the fire department's help, we were able to get him down to the beach, and it was just a memorable event. So as we travel and tell others we live in Kitty Hawk, they often ask, what is the town like? I tell them this is a caring, giving town. I tell them that this is God's country. And I tell them this is where you should think about giving yourself in service to others. For the town to coordinate with the OBX Dementia Friendly Coalition, the bar would be high set, and everyone throughout the nation would talk about it. This would be an opportunity just to help and aid those that suffer and impacted and their families by this terrible, terrible disease. The OBX Dementia Friendly Coalition needs a corporate headquarters. You've heard Jan Collins' presentation. They need a building to serve the needs of the community. I hope that you'll favorably consider the request, and thank you for all you do for the town of Kitty Hawk.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else, Laura?
No, sir.
Anyone here tonight would like to speak during public comment about any topic, any subject? Anyone? Okay, Laura, let the record show no one else chose to speak. Council, I need a motion to approve tonight's consent agenda, please.
So moved, Mr. Mayor.
Made by Jeff, second.
Second.
Second by David. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed. And we had no items removed from the consent agenda. Planning, Rob, are you going to speak later on your?
Yeah,
Okay. All right, new business. Item 9A, operating guidelines for high-quality government. Melody?
Good evening, council and the public. Through some suggestions and conversations, it came about that perhaps we needed to formulate some guidelines for our council members and our appointed board members. And this has been presented to you, I think, at least 2 weeks ago, and also in your packet. It discusses just some basic rules for board members to follow. It discusses dress code, and it also discusses attendance. I will stand for questions if you would like.
Thank you, Melody. You folks have put in a lot of hard work here. We appreciate what you've done. Council, any questions or comments from Melody or anything you'd like to say? Okay, Council, is anyone would like to make a motion here to approve the operating guidelines? I would make a motion I recommend a motion to approve the proposed operating guidelines for high-quality government. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by David. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed. If you notice, council, there's place for us to date and sign as far as appointed board members also. Thank you, council.
Thank you for your work on that.
Yeah, hard work. Okay, item 9B, plans for our old police department building. We've got a room full of folks here tonight who are eagerly waiting. Hear what we say. We've been discussing this amongst ourselves and with Melody for some time now. A lot of good ideas. You all heard Ms. Collins' great presentation earlier tonight. And I will say, we do not have to make a decision on this tonight. If you want to discuss amongst ourselves right here, bring out some open ideas for us to discuss, and we can table that to another date for decision, or we can make a decision tonight.
So the options that were put forward from some staff brainstorming, even some council members, the options that we have were sell the property. We have an appraisal that was done in April, said it was valued at $870,000. Renovate the property for seasonal housing. We have since found out that if we change the zoning to residential, we have to bring it up to code, and unless we did that, we would not be able to use the downstairs at all as when it was zoned residential due to the flood issues. Of course, we can lease the property and seek tenants for the rental of the building. We heard of one proposal this evening. At one point, there was discussion of just remove the structure and make it into green space. And then also, it's been discussed to make it a community space, like a community gathering space or a youth space or something like that. Couple of facts to the situation: the square footage of the building is 3,558 square feet. I'd say the average lease right now is about $25 a square foot for commercial space. Current insurance paid by the town, we pay $2,800 in flood insurance. And we also currently pay $6,500 in property and liability insurance. The rate would go down if it were occupied, which would probably approximately be $5,600. So that's what I have for you tonight. Does anybody have any questions?
Well, I have a couple.
Can I say something real quick? That I definitely want to hear from you.
Well, no, I'm gonna make it easy tonight. I think we have to know what we have first, fully know what we have. As far as the insurance and all that, that can be done in a triple net lease. I mean, there's ways to push that on to the renter, tenant, whatever. But I think for me personally, I'd like to get in there. I don't even know what we've got at this moment in time. I'm personally not in favor of green space. I mean, I think there was a good presentation earlier. You know, I think there's definitely some uses for it, but we just need to know what we even have. We need to make sure we can, you know, I was even thinking about it the other day. I mean, you could kind of prevent that flooding a little bit by, even though it's a, you know, block foundation, brick foundation, you can still structurally lift that.
You can.
Right? So, I mean, that would be an expense on the town, but then you
Or
don't.
maybe a grant. I mean, I don't
Or
know.
grant, right, yep. So, you know, that could be an option. I just think we as a board need to kind of see exactly where we want to go and what we have.
And I think a big thing here, I met with Melody this morning. Council is aware and the public is aware, we just passed our budget. We just approved our budget for 2025, 2026. We have no money in our budget for repairs or remodeling this building. I think that's a big thing to consider here.
Just keep the AC and the heat on.
The AC's been increased, I guess, or we're not maintaining it at police department temperature levels.
Could we explore if
Which
there
is like
are any
60
grants out there? Can we explore that to see what?
for raising.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, there's a FEMA grant out there.
I also spoke with Rob this morning. He echoed what you just said. We cannot occupy the bottom floor, right? Right, Rob?
Residential.
For residential.
Right, for
What would be grant? What would be?
residential use, it would have to meet the regulatory flood protection elevation, which is 8 feet in AVD back there, and I think the ground elevation is maybe around 4. So ground floor would either have to be parking, storage, or dry access, or it would have to be elevated to use it as residential.
What Ms. Collins proposed would be okay because it's not residential, correct?
Right, it's still like an office space.
I still think you would want to, well, first of all, why would that not be grandfathered in?
You'd be changing the use from like.
Kind of commercial
non-residential
resident,
to
right.
But if you only, if a commercial tenant moves in within a year, it maintains the grandfathering.
Right.
That's from the zoning side, yeah.
But even putting a tenant in there, I think the best thing we need to be, in my opinion, would be we need to be researching grants right now to raise it. FEMA just handed out a bunch, not a bunch, but a few. I mean, I'd like to see that. For me, I'd like to see that kind of fast track as best we could, to see if there's even available funds out there or how long it would take. I mean, you have a nice, you know, if you get a nice tenant in there and then, you know, God forbid we have floods, you know, we all know what happens back there at that time. So I think if we're going to do that, then I'm strongly behind raising the building. Keeping it and raising it.
The $25 a square foot for retail, is that monthly or annually?
Annually.
Okay.
Well, it's 20, take it.
Okay.
Do you agree with that?
More or less.
Anything else,
It's in the,
David?
it's in the wheelhouse. Location, but, sir?
Anything else, David or Dylan?
No, sir.
Jeff?
But the only thing is, I grew up on, right on that piece of property, basically. It was my parents' backyard. And it has flooded multiple times, and it's been in, I know at least twice, Sandy and Irene was several feet inside the downstairs. I have concerns about mold and a lot of things before that we could even, I think there's some inspection of this building that really needs to be looked into. One of the reasons for us moving out, our police department out of that area, is the tremendous risk of flooding. And I would hate for somebody to invest a lot of money in there and then turn around and have it all wiped away. And I'm all ears, but I think the town really needs, if we're going to consider anything like this, that an inspection of this building before we could consider it, such as we did when we bought the medical building, to ensure that the safety of the people before we say sure, and then come to find out, you know, it has had some tremendous flooding, and it will see flooding again. So it is a risk to anybody that moves in there without raising the building or tearing it down and building something different there. You will always have the risk, and the risk will come again someday. So I think if we're going to consider this, the town should look into some of those areas and then get back, and if we're into leasing or selling or something of that nature. I personally don't see if you can't turn it into some kind of housing for our employees or something like that, all I see left is storage upstairs. So the possibilities for me is anything from something like this or to selling it to somebody like this. But I think.
And I have had 3 inquiries about buying it. Now, no numbers have been discussed, but there have been 3 people at least who have expressed interest in buying it. And one of the ideas was, if we did sell it, we could use that money. Willie says there's space on the lot to build just a real simple stick-built building for how, there's other things perhaps that we could do with
The lot
sale
across the
proceeds.
street.
I didn't put that in this.
Right.
Because, no, the lot where they call the yard.
Okay, right.
Yeah,
Putting up, so you're talking about using money for that to build some housing maybe on that. Okay, okay, okay.
I'm like you, Jeff,
Yeah.
we need an inspection, so we got to
Yeah,
know what we got.
Yeah, I'll be happy to do an inspection and check into the FEMA grants and other things that perhaps could raise it up.
And that may determine we can come back to these folks or have them come back to us.
Yeah,
Once we get more
certainly
information.
still consider that as an option.
Sure. Charlotte?
I have some questions for the Dementia Friendly Coalition. Have you explored grants to possibly purchase the building or to obtain it in some fashion? Have y'all explored grants? You're very compelling. You really, I understand your need, and I think it's wonderful, but is that an option? Would you like time to be able to do that?
Are you saying that you would entertain then selling the building to us if we explore trying to find a grant to purchase the building?
Well, it's going to be a hefty one. But that is, it's just a thought, that have you explored that avenue? And are you limited to just Kitty Hawk? You're from all over the beach, are you not? So you're not limited to just Kitty Hawk.
No, we're not limited to Kitty Hawk. We've been in existence for
Come up,
12
please.
years. Putting,
Ms. Collins, come up so we can have you on. I'd love to hear what you got to say. Thank you, thank you.
We've been in existence for 12 years. Diane Denning, who's here tonight, started the Dementia Friendly Coalition, and through her efforts, we have grown. And we have started these day out programs, and we were at Parks and Rec. Well, Parks and Rec have the children in the summertime, so we have to move our participants into another room. So then we moved down to Nag's Head to St. Andrews by the Sea. And I come by the old police station on our way to church all the time, and I said to Tess, what are they going to do with the old police station? So again, it's a community effort. It's like, okay, we would like to show people in the community, not only Kitty Hawk, Kill Devil's Hill, Nag's Head, we would like to show everybody that we have a dementia-friendly coalition, that the island is unique to the country. Because we started with the hospital, we have the volunteers, they have gone out and trained, and they're being inundated saying, wow, how do you do this? And so we're trying to find visibility. If we could have a building where we could put our sign and put our name and bring our participants to all the time, the same building. Yes, you talk about grants. Where are we gonna get $800,000 to pay for this house? I mean, I agree, that's great, but what I was looking for was to you to work with us, and then for me to go to other towns, and even to the commissioners. I mean, to me, this should be, you know, an island project of everybody getting behind and supporting. Do you have to carry all the weight? No. But is it time for somebody to make a stand in the sand and say, you know what, we'll help you, but this is what we need. So then I go out and I farm it from Corolla all the way down to Hatteras and say, what would you do to help us secure this property? Yes, it floods. Granted, we use it a couple times a week. Our participants would come in that lower level. You're right, if we had 3 feet of water, yeah, we'd have to have a lot of volunteers. You've had people here that built the walking trails. We are full of volunteers. We have volunteers every week that staff these programs. I run a tennis tournament. This will be the 5th year. In October, we raised $40,000 to support the program. And that's all done by volunteers. So there's no shortage of volunteers, but yes, there's a big shortage of money. And why we're here is to find out if we could work together, because you have a property that we could make work. Is it ideal? No. Are we going to keep it forever? Probably not. If we could get the towns together, and if we could get the commissioners to see what we're doing, they have a bomb center. They have land there. They need to expand that. We could grow and move into the bomb center, and they could build something for us. So it's not a, you know, a forever thing. It would be, hey, the real estate market could come back. You could let us in there and let us rent it for $1 a month and help us out. We'll pay the insurance or the utilities. We'll get the money for that. And then in 3 years, we'll get the commissioners to put something in the bomb center for us. We just need a start, that's all.
Well, for the record, I'm a big supporter of it, having somebody who's personally seeing it every day.
Yeah.
With my stepfather, so.
The island is full of retirees. We're all Frosty Tops that are coming here. And we already found out that it's increasing. And, you know, it's the children that can't afford to come here to live because they can't afford the houses. So, you know, the other thing is the Board of Tourism. You know, hey, look at the money that they have. Why couldn't they put some money in our pocket as well? We're already saying, come with your transponders, and we'll show you that. We've trained the restaurants, we've gone to the banks, we've gone to the library. Diane has, you know, gotten backpacks, and they're checked out all the time, so we're growing. So this is a new thing. So this is like moving forward and thinking forward. How can we help these senior citizens that, you know, unfortunately have dementia? There is no cure for it. You know, so what we're trying to do is take the stigma away from dementia. Let them come out and go to the restaurants. Let them come to our programs. I mean, and this was a new thing that just happened. We are going to Spring Arbor and to Peak. They have some of our participants who can no longer be at home, but they're in these facilities, but they don't go anywhere. So now we have our services that can go and pick them up, take them out for 4 hours and come to us. And we have, again, volunteers in our community that do all the art programs and the master gardeners. They come to us to show us their wares and do projects. Today we had Abby's Tea. They came and did a tea party. I mean, it's wonderful. It's just, we need somebody like you all to stand behind us if I found this, in Southern Shores or in Nags Head, I'd be right there tonight doing the same thing with them, saying, hey, guys, help us out. And that's,
We cannot
I,
put you in any harm's way in doing this either. So we're just gonna have to.
Let us move forward, getting our inspection. and
Inspect
see.
it and all that sort of thing, and we're very compassionate about what you're trying to do.
and if there's something that you come up with, please, you have my information, tap back. In the meantime, we'll check into grants and see what can be done, and maybe we could work together to put something together. And like I said, go to Elizabeth and Southern Shores and go up to Duck and, hit the other towns and say, okay, this is what Kitty Hawk came back to us with. Let's see what we can do to do it as a group.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. You folks have chosen the right speaker, I agree with you. He's awesome. Awesome. Okay. Old business, Rob. See if we can clear up what we left open from our last meeting.
I think we're gonna have a little, might wanna wait just a minute.
Everybody wants to hear about this.
All right, so as you mentioned,
Wait
this
just
is
a minute,
a.
Rob. Let them get out.
All right.
Yeah. Have a good evening, thank you.
Thank you.
I like that, frosted tops, I like that.
Frosty top.
Direct.
Gonna go direct.
That's pretty good.
So as you mentioned, this is a continuation from the text amendment public hearing that was held in August. The public hearing was held and closed, and council had some questions, tabled the discussion until tonight. The material in front of you tonight is the same as what you had last month, with the addition of, I went through the minutes and the video of last month's meeting and picked out all the questions that weren't able to be answered then and provided responses in the report for those. They start towards the bottom of page 3. With that, I will turn it. I don't have anything new for you.
Okay, council, any questions? I think, David, you had a few questions. for me.
I'll get us started. I'm, correct me if I'm wrong, I mean, I thought the whole thing of get my notes here. You're talking about a cantilever deck as an example, right? I mean, we talked about that last time. You got a state stormwater calculation, then you have the Kitty Hawk calculation, in a low density neighborhood like my own.
Can I step
Sure.
real quick? So you're talking about stormwater. Lot coverage is not related to.
I understand.
The lot coverage is zoning. So lot coverage, we're trying to talk about the intensity of a development.
I understand.
So-
So take First Flight Ridge as an example. I've done hundreds of site plans in there. You still have two different calculations. Kitty Hawk calculates cantilever decks one way, state does not.
We have never had any.
Understood. But if I'm understanding this correctly, though, we're gonna start doing that.
We would count it towards, well, the same way we've always done it. It's always been counted as lot coverage until last year when we changed it to take uncovered decks out of lot coverage calculation.
So that's where I'm getting confused. And I
This
know,
would count it as lot coverage lot coverage physical area that excess amount that we allow from 30 to 38%, like permeable pavement. That is intended to limit the intensity of the development. So, like real world example that just came in last week, an as-built survey, uncovered ground level deck, about 2,000 square feet of decking that just counts as nothing. That's not what I intended with the previous text amendment. That's what this would correct.
okay, thank you. That's what is confusing, okay? Because I totally agree with you on that. because you can't have more than a 2-foot cantilever deck without a structural engineer behind doing something different, which wouldn't make any sense anyway, because then it's going to flex and break off, and you get 20 people standing there. 2 feet's is the maximum that I would ever build to anyway. So that makes a lot more sense to me. Wasn't very clear. Like that, I totally agree with you on a 2,000 square foot deck sitting on short piles in somebody's yard. Which that should count as lot coverage.
Well, this would count it as the lot coverage physical area. So you still get, you've got your 30% lot coverage, which is your concrete, your roof, your structures. And then the way our ordinance is written is anything in excess of 30, you can go up to 38% lot coverage as long as permeable pavement is used for anything in excess of 30%. The proposed language in number 3 on the definition there says that for single-family residential applications, uncovered open slatted decks that allow water to penetrate through to open pervious material are calculated as lot coverage physical area. So they're still not counting towards your 30% impervious lot coverage, but we're putting that cap on 38%, so we're not allowing these 2,000 square foot decks. It's regulating the intensity of development, not the impervious.
So I'm not trying to play attorney, but a lot of my friends are lawyers, they say words matter, right? So should we not say cantilever, a 2-foot cantilever deck is not considered physical area?
I mean, if we want,
To me, it makes it more clear. The way it reads right now.
Didn't address cantilever decks because it's never been addressed. So it would be looked at, before the last text amendment, cantilever deck was 100% lot coverage.
Right.
The last text amendment takes it out, so it's nothing. This would count it back towards the 38% lot coverage physical area. So it would just be looking at, take an aerial look, at the lot, bird's eye view. What's the decking that you can see with the bird's eye view counts in that covered area, or lot coverage physical area.
I just don't see the need to have cantilever decks that are on the top floor counting as lot coverage.
It's not counted as lot coverage, it should be counted as lot coverage physical area, the 30 to 38% range. Still limiting the intensity of the development of the lot.
It's a cantilever deck on the top floor. I get it. I mean, it's maybe I'm the only one, but I don't agree with that part of it being counted.
Are you talking about just the part that's cantilevered? Is that what, okay.
Just the cantilevered section.
But bird's eye view, the deck is the
I see what
footprint of the deck.
Right, it's
Okay.
counted, which I see what he's saying. But you're not using that underneath that unless you've done some type of work into the joist to stop from, it's not usable area underneath it because you'll get wet. Same thing we discussed last time that we got away from it. I go with it either way. I just think it's kind of confusing. I 110% agree with the short pile, 2,000 square foot trampoline of wood. But like I have a 2-foot cantilever deck on my top deck. Okay, well, why, from a bird's eye view, looking down, yes, it looks like it's lot coverage, but it's really not when you look up. It hangs over, but there's nothing there but air. It's just like looking at this light right here. So I don't want to get too hung up on it. I know you're just trying to do everything, clean everything up, and I certainly appreciate all your hard work on it, Rob. I know it's not easy. It's just confusing to me.
And if council wants to add in, an additional line there that cantilever deck is not counted towards the lot coverage physical area, I'm fine with that too. It's council's decision, like, Dan, I don't know if you were here. If council wants to add in like an additional line in that sentence that says that the, cantilever deck up to X 2 feet, whatever, does not count towards the lot coverage physical area, I can add that in pretty simple.
I'd like to hear, I don't want to spend all night on it. It's just looking at it from a construction standpoint, if you're, I don't know how to explain what I'm trying to say.
So this has never been an issue before?
No, it's never been specifically addressed. It's just always, prior to the 2024 text amendment, whether cantilever or not, it was always counted just as lot coverage.
So as an example, I have a 16, I was for easy math, 15, 30, I have 30 square feet now. It's being counted as lot coverage. It's a cantilever deck on the top of my house.
Well, it would have been previously too.
Correct.
Yeah.
But we're putting it
But
back.
you're getting that square footage taken off your lot coverage, but it's lot coverage physical area. So if you wanted to increase concrete somewhere else, that cantilever area is counted towards that extra 8% for you. Just give you more flexibility.
No, I understand. It's just,
Why is the portion that's not cantilevered counted as coverage?
that's Rob, that one.
The portion that's not cantilevered, that would be counted as coverage as well?
Previously, it would have been counted as coverage. Under this proposal, it would be counted as that lot coverage physical area, that extra 8% we get.
I don't understand what you're trying to say, because I see the deck as a whole, whether it's cantilevered or not. I don't understand.
For me, I'm looking at a 2-foot cantilever deck, right? Say this is the cantilever. From a bird's eye view, yes, it looks like it's one great big piece. But why are we counting it when it's just open air of wood, 2 foot of open air wood? Not short piled in the ground, free hanging, 30 feet in the air.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Like I said, this has always been, prior to, I think it was October last year, always been counted as coverage. Then the text amendment we had last year took all.
Do you feel this is a better way to do it? Or you
I
wouldn't?
get the argument you're making, but I mean, ultimately, it's what council.
No, I'm asking you, do you think the way you're proposing it, you wrote it this way because you think it's better? And if you think it's better, I support you as our planning director.
I think if we're trying to regulate the intensity of the development of the lot, then yeah, you're looking at everything that's built there.
So you do think it's making it better overall?
I think it's, yeah, I think so.
Okay. Well, if you think it makes it better, then I'll stand down because you're a planning director and I'm gonna support you. I'm still having a hard time understanding certain aspects of it, but if you think it's better, then I'm out of questions.
Anybody else, council, any comments? Judy?
You brought up gravel last time as well. You want to revisit that?
Yeah, I'm not sure I understand the 2-inch river rock being counted as lot coverage either, if you put it around the edge of a concrete driveway or around the drip edges of a house.
So, well, it's listed in there that landscaping, like around the drip edges, or probably, I guess, landscaping along the edge of a driveway, or landscaping zone is not counted for any kind of coverage. It's written in here that a gravel driveway would count as an improved driveway, which would be counted as lot coverage, with the rationale being eventually cars driving back and forth on it for
Compacts.
years, it compacts it, debris fills into it, it becomes impervious eventually.
Still drains better than concrete.
And like, I had a couple of conversations today, and I thought if council feels that gravel driveway shouldn't be counted as coverage, I'm fine with that. I just was trying to give you the information of why I put it in there, just the background, my rationale. But if council doesn't agree with that, that's fine.
No, I agree with you though. It does compact, man, for sure.
All right, we good on that? Philip?
Yes, sir.
Jeff?
I'm good.
Charlotte?
Good.
All right, need a motion,
I
council?
mean, I know, real quick, I know Dare County, and I should know this, but, I believe that they do like I think it's 50% can be grass, gravel, whatever, it's not counted as lot coverage, then you have to have a certain amount of concrete or some type of parking pad area. And I really like the way they do it, and I should know that, and I meant to bring my notes in on that before I got here, and I forgot. You know, we talk about stormwater, well, we're creating the issue with all this concrete. So that's all I have to say.
All right, council, I entertain a motion, please.
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve the proposed text amendment to the section listed in this staff report related to permanent pavement, lot coverage, and lot coverage physical area. Town council has found this proposal to be consistent with the town's adopted land use plan.
Thank you, Jeff. Second?
Second.
Second by Charlotte. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed. Thank you, Rob.
Thank you, Rob.
Appreciate you clearing it up for us. Time manager.
Well, good evening again. I have a couple things to relay. The town has been working on its emergency operations plan. You guys approved this year's agenda, or this year's plan in your consent agenda. But last week, we completed a pretty realistic, actually, emergency operations drill. We had Hurricane Robert ascend. It was a direct hit. I want to first thank Chief Talley for organizing this drill. He did an exceptional job. We had real briefings from the National Weather Service, and he coordinated scenarios. We had loose leopards, flooding, we had in-person injuries, missing people, and structure fires. All the departments were involved, and my thanks also goes out to all the staff for participating. The drill provided us with a great real-life scenario. The first thing that happened is our phones didn't work, so we had to come up with a solution for that. I'm proud to say this is the most progress that we have made in emergency management, and we have been motivated by this, and we will continue to ensure the safety of our community and our citizens by continuing with this effort. Casey did want me to relay that he is still working on the White Street access situation, and he will provide additional information next month. Today, the town council, along with public safety staff and department heads, had the privilege of attending the ribbon cutting ceremony for Dare EMS Station Number 9. It also is a fire bay for Kitty Hawk Fire and Rescue. In my opinion, this is a win-win-win situation. First, it's a win for the community to have EMS services available in our town. Second, it's a win for Dare EMS to have a brand-new, never-before facility in Kitty Hawk. And thirdly, it's a win for Kitty Hawk Fire to have the addition of a fire bay that can be used in storms and be a safer place for them to be. Also, on Tuesday, August 26th, everybody mark your calendar, we will be hosting a ribbon cutting at our new police department located at 5200 North Croatan Highway. The ribbon cutting will take place at 5:00 p.m. Afterwards, we will host tours and have light refreshments. We are excited for the public to see our new building, and the event will last until 7 o'clock. And as Paul mentioned, I'm happy to announce the town has been awarded a grant from the NC North Carolina Department of Transportation for a multimodal path. This is a bicycle and pedestrian plan that will, they will study the entire town to come up with a plan that suits us the best, that we can use for future projects and some guidelines as we move forward. So that is a very good thing. And that's all I have.
And so you had loose leopards, right?
We had, how many loose leopards do we have? 3, I think. 6?
12.
12.
Even dozen. Thank you, Melody.
Baker's dozen.
Mr. Shaw, anything for us, sir?
Casey gave me nothing except give you his regards.
Okay.
Glad to be here again.
Thank you so much for being here. Town Council, Dave?
I don't have a whole lot. I really want to thank you again for that presentation. I personally am happy to help you in any way I can, whether it be through the town of Kitty Hawk or any town on the beach, the county level. Just call my cell phone and I'll be happy to meet with you and see what I can do to help you out. I know nothing about it until seeing my stepdad go through it the last 2 years, and it's pretty eye-opening. So anyway, anything I can do personally to help you, I'm happy to do. That's it for me.
Thank you, David. Very good, sir. Dylan?
I just want to thank the Recreation Committee, Peter and all the guys who came up. Those, you guys obviously have done some hard work. Appreciate all your time and efforts in that. And like Melody said, we did visit the ribbon cutting for the EMS station. And what a wonderful addition to our community, and what a well-needed addition to our community for all of our public service and our emergency services. And I think I mentioned it during the ribbon cutting, but how important the EMS folks are, you don't really recognize it until you need them. And so, thank you for all of our first responders, for all you guys do, for all of us. That's all I have.
Thank you, Dylan. Today was a very good day. It's been a busy day, but it's been a very good day. Great for Kitty Hawk and great for everyone on this end of Dare County, Southern Currituck. It's just wonderful that we got this new facility. I'm looking forward to August 26th. I know you all, Chief, and give us some tours. And those that haven't already been, I highly encourage you to go. Nice facility. Thank you to all the staff. All the staff. You do a great job every day. Jeff?
Yeah, I'd also like to give the shout out to Paul and all the Recreation Committee members in Charlotte for all your hard work in establishing the trails that have been in the working since 1981.
Check it off the list, Jeff.
Anyway, we got it done. We saw the pictures of the dune line, and all I could think about is Donnie King and Better Beaches OBX. They have done a tremendous amount of work, and the people that have helped to establish that dune and redo the sand fence is the reason that dune, the graphs that we saw right now, is a result of hard work of the volunteers, and I'd like to thank them. Also, we're going to give a shout out to Kempsville and Dare County and the town of Kitty Hawk worked together on a project we had some property and they needed an EMS station and we needed a fire bay. And we were able to work together, and now we have a fire bay and they have an EMS station. And as we've said, it is a win-win for the town of Kitty Hawk and all of the residents of the Northern Outer Banks, because this, as we found out, 47% of all the calls are in this section where this EMS station is. So I'd like to really thank Dare County and my fellow council members for this. That's all I have.
Thank you, Jeff. Charlotte?
Also, Lewis, who is in our front office, she has been very instrumental in helping the recreation department and has gone above and beyond to make sure they had all the paperwork they needed and make sure everything was in order. So I'd like to thank Alsu, and I'm just really proud of what they've done, the Recreation Committee has done. So thank you so much for everything.
Thank you, Charlotte. Anything else to come before this council tonight?
Well, Willie reminded me that today is the 235th anniversary of the United States Coast Guard, so I wanted to say that.
Yeah, really.
That's on my birthday.
Congratulations.
That's my birthday, 235 years ago.
All right. Anything else? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn, council. Motion made by David, second.
Second.
All opposed. We are adjourned. Everybody in favor, we are adjourned.
7:48. Are you have to type them out? Am I typing them, or is she typing them out? No, we were afraid somebody was going to
We're good to go.
Oh.
Yes, ma'am.
Missed something, didn't we?